You are eating out 3 times a week, every single week, and the scale is not moving. Not because you are lazy, not because you lack discipline, because nobody told you that the average sit-down restaurant meal contains 1,128 calories. Before the drink, before the bread basket, and before dessert even enters the conversation. That number comes from a University of Toronto analysis of 19 full-service restaurant chains. And here's what makes it worse. Most people eating those meals guess the calorie count was about 175 calories lower than it actually was. That gap is not a rounding error. That gap is why the fat stays. Today we are not talking about avoiding restaurants. That is not realistic for someone with a full-time job, a calendar packed with client lunches, and exactly zero desire to meal prep every Sunday. Instead, we are going through a set of ordering rules. Simple, specific, and actually usable, that shift how your body processes a restaurant meal without making you the difficult one at the table. These are not tips. These are rules, and the difference matters. Rule 1 is called the protein anchor. Before you look at anything else on a menu, before the specials, before the sides, before what your colleague is ordering, you identify the highest protein main dish available, and that becomes your starting point. Here's why this works. Research published in the Journal of Obesity and Metabolic Syndrome confirms that a high-protein meal triggers a significantly greater thermogenic response than a meal built around carbohydrates or fat. In plain terms, your body burns more energy just processing protein than it does processing the same number of calories from pasta or fries. A meta-analysis of 47 randomized controlled trials, covering 3,218 participants, found that increased protein intake significantly prevents fat mass accumulation during weight loss, with a standardized mean difference of 0.75 in favor of higher protein groups. That is not a small effect. That is a consistent, replicated finding across thousands of participants. At a fast food stop, this means grilled chicken over a crispy option. Not because fried food is evil, but because you are making the protein the center of the meal. At a casual sit-down restaurant, this means scanning for the fish, the chicken breast, the steak, or the egg-based dish first. The protein anchor sets the nutritional baseline for everything else you order. Rule 2. Order the vegetables before you order the starch. Most menus list main dishes with sides bundled together. What working professionals rarely do is swap the default starchy side for a vegetable option, even when that swap is available and cheap. This single decision, swapping fries or rice for a grilled or steamed vegetable, removes between 200 and 400 calories from a meal without reducing the amount of food on the plate. You are not eating less. You are eating differently. A 2023 cohort study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition tracked 98,589 adults over 3 years. The study found that consistent high consumption of restaurant meals was directly associated with measurable weight gain across the full study period. The people who gained the least were not the people who stopped eating out. They were the people who consistently made lower calorie substitutions within their orders. The behavior change was at the point of ordering, not at the point of deciding whether to go. Vegetables are not a punishment. They are the easiest calorie reduction lever available to you inside a restaurant setting. Rule 3. The drink is not free. A large standard soda from a fast food chain contains approximately 86 grams of sugar, more than double the American Heart Association's daily recommended limit for men, and more than triple the limit for women. A single glass of orange juice at a sit-down restaurant adds between 100 and 120 calories before your food arrives. A latte or sweetened iced coffee with a meal adds another 150 to 250 calories depending on the size and the sugar additions. The drink is invisible in most people's mental accounting of a meal. They log the chicken, they log the salad. The drink disappears from the calculation entirely. Water is the most straightforward call here, and it genuinely does not require explanation. If you want something other than water, unsweetened sparkling water or black coffee are both 0 calorie and available at virtually every restaurant category from fast food to full service. If you are at a work lunch and want something more social, ordering a still water alongside a smaller drink cuts the total sugar intake significantly while keeping you comfortable at the table. There is also a timing factor that most people miss entirely. Drinking 16 ounces of water, roughly half a standard bottle, before your meal arrives has been shown in research published in the journal Obesity to reduce meal intake by an average of 75 to 90 calories in adults over the age of 25. That is not a dramatic shift on its own, but across 3 restaurant meals a week, 52 weeks a year, that single habit removes between 11,700 and 14,000 calories from your annual intake. That is the equivalent of 3 to 4 pounds of fat, eliminated by drinking water before the food arrives. Not by changing what you ordered, not by skipping anything, just by being at the table earlier and drinking water while you wait. Rule 4. Split the portion or box half before you eat. A Tufts University study analyzed the calorie content of meals from independent and small chain restaurants and found that the average lunch or dinner entree with sides contained 1,327 calories. Before drinks, before appetizers, and before anything else. More than 90% of the meals in that study exceeded 1/3 of a person's entire recommended daily calorie intake in a single sitting. Restaurant portions are not calibrated to your energy needs. They are calibrated to perceived value, the feeling that you are getting enough food for the price. Those are two completely different design goals. The professional-friendly fix is this: when your food arrives, immediately ask for a to-go box or move half the plate to the side before you take the first bite. This is not deprivation. You are eating the same food. You are just resetting your consumption ceiling. Hunger responds to what is visible on the plate in front of you. Remove half of it and the appetite signal adjusts accordingly within a few minutes of eating. There is a psychological mechanism behind this that is worth understanding. A study from Cornell University's Food and Brand Lab found that people consistently eat more when served larger portions, not because they are hungrier, but because the brain uses the plate as a visual cue for how much is appropriate to consume. The plate becomes the portion guide. When you physically remove half the food before eating, you override that cue. The brain recalibrates. You finish the half plate and feel satisfied at a level that the full plate would never have produced, because the full plate would have pushed you 30 to 40% past actual satiety before the signal caught up. If you are subscribed here and finding this useful, hit subscribe so you catch the next breakdown. We go deeper on this every week. Rule 5. Read the preparation language, not the health labels. Menus at both fast food chains and sit-down restaurants use specific preparation words that tell you more about the calorie content of a dish than any label does. The words to watch are battered, crispy, loaded, smothered, creamy, au gratin, and glazed. Each of those words signals added fat, added sugar, or both, often in quantities that double the base calorie count of the protein itself. The words that indicate a lower calorie preparation are grilled, steamed, poached, baked, roasted, and broiled. These preparation methods use minimal added fat and preserve the protein content of the dish without dramatically altering the calorie load. This is not about ordering the most boring thing on the menu. A grilled salmon with roasted vegetables and no sauce is not a sad meal. It is a well-constructed meal. A battered fish with a cream sauce and loaded potato on the side, regardless of how it is labeled as a restaurant favorite, is a meal that will routinely put you 800 to 1,000 calories over your daily target without you realizing it. Learning to read preparation language takes approximately 2 restaurant visits to become automatic. After that, it requires no active effort at all. Rule 6. The salad is not automatically the safe option. This one catches working professionals more than any other rule on this list. The instinct when trying to lose fat while eating out is to default to the salad. It sounds correct, it rarely is. Tufts University research found that 92% of restaurant meals, including salads when dressed and topped, exceed the recommended energy content for a single meal. A full-service Caesar salad with croutons, dressing, and protein added frequently contains between 800 and 1,100 calories. A grilled chicken salad at a major fast food chain with full dressing applied can contain more calories than the chain's standard burger. The fix is not to avoid salads. The fix is to order the dressing on the side and apply it yourself. 1 tablespoon of restaurant-served dressing instead of a full ladled portion typically reduces the dressing contribution by 150 to 250 calories, without altering the taste of the meal in any meaningful way. When you sit down or step up to a counter, run through this in order. First, find the highest protein main dish. Second, identify whether a vegetable swap is available for the default starch. Third, order water or an unsweetened drink. Fourth, decide immediately whether to box half the meal when it arrives. Fifth, check the preparation language before confirming your order. Sixth, if you are ordering a salad, request the dressing on the side. That sequence takes approximately 90 seconds to run through inside your own head. It requires no special requests that slow down the table, no lengthy explanations to the server, and no awkward modifications that draw attention at a work lunch. The research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition on 98,000 adults makes one finding very clear. It is not the act of eating out that drives fat gain over time. It is the frequency combined with unmanaged portions and drink choices. Remove those 2 variables consistently and the outcome changes. Across 3 years of tracking, it changed measurably for tens of thousands of people. 3 restaurant meals a week is not the problem. 3 restaurant meals a week ordered without a system is the problem. If this gave you something concrete to use, hit the like button and subscribe. We cover exactly this kind of practical, evidence-based approach every week for people who do not have time to overhaul their entire routine. There is a related video on the channel covering what to eat at your desk to keep fat loss moving on the days you are not eating out. Link is in the description, and I will see you in the next one.